All right, 2 days into the week, numbers are looking pretty good. I'm happy with this. So on this video, we're gonna catch up on a couple things. I had to fire a customer today, which really sucked because they were an excellent customer. So we're gonna talk about that. We're going to look at some workflow things, some training stuff me and my new technician are doing, or my younger guy anyway, and trying to get him to get a little spun up on some wiring issues. So we'll talk through this car over here. I did clean up the shop a little bit. We got this corner done. So that BMW engine has to eventually get back into the car, but the corner is cleaned up. And then we got that one in from that live event. And we got that organized up over there, and those parts belong on the car. So we're doing good. The last thing we're going to touch on is ASTA 2026, last weekend of September. I'm still giving away a ticket, okay? Right now I only have one right candidate for the ticket giveaway. Let's touch on that real quick. So the idea is that I'm going to contribute and pay for one ticket for an owner. You would still be responsible for travel and for your hotel, okay? The idea is that I'm trying to help an owner that has never gone to any multi-day training conference, and one that might not be able to financially sound to be able to do it. I mean, there's a ton of people that I would want to go, technician-wise also, but I'm trying to help owners right now, which will hopefully in turn help technicians as well. So everyone can apply. What you need to do is just email strugglingowner@gmail.com and just give me your name, and then I'll send over a Google sheet for you to fill out, and we're going to try to select the right candidate for this. Okay, so it's the last weekend of September, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Training kind of ends Saturday afternoon. There's a tool expo and vendor expo for like software and that kind of thing there as well. It's at the Raleigh Convention Center. I do want to select somebody probably by the end of maybe by this weekend. That way we have enough time to hopefully select your classes and then select your hotel room and that kind of thing, and then make arrangements. Okay, so if you have any questions about that, just hit me up. All right, so what did we do today? Well, we closed out the week so far at $7,400, which is a pretty good for a second day in. That's not real typical of us. So hopefully we're getting our things kind of straightened out. After the last 2 weeks that we had were just abysmal with absolutely the wrong work and everything went sideways. Usually that happens for like 1 week, but when they carry over, it's really bad. So we ended up having like 2 carryovers that it was terrible. But we're sitting on, I'd have to go through the numbers. Maybe we'll go back to the office and take a look. But we have a 4Runner that we're working on. I just did an exhaust on it, subletted it out. It was way less expensive for everybody to do the exhaust at a custom exhaust shop and fix it that way. We have to do a radiator in that car, and he's going to do his own headlights so we can get it to pass inspection. And then this guy, we need 2 ball joints in it, and I think one other item to make that car like reliable for local transportation. And then this guy came in with a really weird intermittent AC problem where we had to hit the button a few different times to get it to actually activate. So we found multiple issues with this. This car came through, it's a 2006 Impala SS, okay? This car came in, at minimum 2 other shops looked at this car, both GM dealerships, and they're like, we can't figure it out. So it comes to us, right? And I told them to stop by, did a free parking lot inspection to see if it's something we're gonna get into. And I was like, yeah, we can. I'm not too worried about this. And I gave them the idea, I gave them the price of and how the process is gonna work. And I explained that like I'm probably not gonna be able to get to the root cause of the problem within the standard AC eval, okay? And so sure enough, we did the AC eval on it, And when we check air conditioning, we check the entire system, okay? I want to make sure that we get all of the data, because I definitely don't want to string along a customer hundreds of dollars, and then when it's all said and done, you know, $2,000 later, it's like, dude, I didn't really care about AC, because AC works in this. It's just that he has to hit the button 5 times sometimes to make it work. This is what we found on it so far. It was 0.2 pounds, about a quarter pound low on refrigerant. What was going on with his complaint was that the AC light would flash. Okay, now we had faults, numerous faults in the system for a few actuators. And what I can tell you from checking it is that the actuators for the vent controls, the blend door on both sides, they were not working properly. Sometimes it would take 15 seconds to start changing temp, and then sometimes it would be immediate. And I told him, I said, look, that's something totally different than what we're experiencing so far. There's a possibility of a bad control head as well, and we could have bad actuators, but I can't tell you 100% until we fix all the known bad things wrong. What we found is that we also checked fans operation, right? It's a dual fan system. It's got 3 relays. Not a very typical, it's not a standard fan relay control circuit, right? They use 3 relays for 2 motors, and one's a normally open, 2 of them are normally open, one's a normally closed, and it's just how they operate. They're almost like what we call, well, they're not really latching relays. If you don't know what I mean, you can look that up. But I had yeah. So this is the schematic. And this is how I was taught back in school. I know Scanner Danner does something very similar where we start tracing the circuit, right? So we spent a lot of time, me and my new tech that really has no electrical experience at all, and trying to go through the circuit and trace it out. And we're using it as a teaching moment, like live, right? And I'm grilling him on normally open, normally closed, telling him like where you're going to put your meter, where we would go down and I would describe, you know, how a battery works and what voltages you're expecting, explaining what voltage is, which is just a difference in potential. And it all depends on where your reference point is and what you're going to see, right? So we went through this and tried to explain the symbols. There's a diode up in here, trying to explain what a blocking diode does, you know, electrical check valve and, you know, that kind of thing. And understanding that one relay powers this motor, comes back down, goes through this relay that's a normally closed relay, and then powers this other motor in series, okay? And when we were doing our tests with, you know, active tests with relays 1, 2, and 3, this motor was not working. But then when we switched to relay 2 and 3, that one would start working, and I was showing him why it would work that way. So we're tracing the circuits out, and he's learning. And he got some right answers, which is good. So at least he's like latching on to some of the data, right? And you know, we're taking notes. And a lot of times what I'll do is that when I'm doing this, I will take pictures of this and upload it to the work order so the customer can see what we're doing and why we're charging what we're charging, right? And you're getting definitive data. So that's what we worked on. And what we found, well, first of all, the actuator for the recirculation is not working. And well, I can tell you that when we're trying to activate that, it's starting to wig out and it's causing the light to flash because it's like, hey, it's like a check engine light. I was explaining to him, you know, when there's a problem, that's what it's going to do. And I'm like, there may be multiple issues, but if we can fix some of these and it meets your goals at this said dollar amount, it's a win. Maybe it's got 300,000 miles on it. Maybe it's not worth it to make it absolutely perfect. If the AC is working and the blend door is working and that kind of thing, we're good, right? So I'm trying to give him realistic expectations. And he bought this car new in 2006. It's got 280,000, I think, on it. So this fan wasn't working, and we went through the process and you know, going through everything and making sure he understands. My new guy understands like what we're testing and why we're testing it, right? And so we're load testing circuits, and then we finally had to get out some continuity stuff. I already had this back together because I had to put the car together to check the actuator for the blend door. But this relay right here that's missing is the relay number 1. And I was showing him like, hey, you have one black relay and the rest of them are gray. Why do you think that might be? And he was like, NONC. Yeah, I was like, yeah, dude, you got it, right? So then you can look at the schematic on the relay, and you can see that it is a normally open relay on the alternate terminal 87A, and when it activates, it basically is changing the direction of current flow, not backwards. I mean, it's changing where the current goes is probably a better way to describe it. So we pulled that thing apart, and we didn't have any power at the relay on the back side of the motor, and you should have, when the system's not active, you should have power going through that motor up to it, to the relay. And the reason why is because the circuit's open, right? Open as in you have the same potential on the positive side of the battery through the motor because it's not operating, back up to the relay where it would then switch either on or off, whether or not, depending on the command from the car. And we didn't have any relay or power up there. And so at that point in time, I wanted to do a resistance check. And we had 55 kilo ohms of resistance. So I'm like, hey, it's not open. So we have probably a burnt contact or a very corroded wire somewhere. Now, some other shop did put a condenser fan in this, and the wiring harness is kind of botched up a little bit. So we put the meter in, put my test leads down into like the correct size from the AES wave kit, and we started checking. And as a wiggle test, we got from 55,000 ohms down to 300, down to 100. And then as I'm wiggling through, we get up to the fuse block, and I can pull the fuse block up and manipulate it, and we can get it all the way down to like 20 ohms. I said, hey, dude, let's go ahead and get this backed off of here. We disconnected the plugs, pulled it apart, and sure enough, we have a burnt contact, and the fuse block or the board is actually cooked a little bit too. So it's going to end up needing a fuse block and a pigtail for that one plug. Now, to make sure there wasn't anything else, because when I was wiggling this, down here, the harness comes down across, goes down around the battery, up through the fender well, and up inside here. I skimmed the wire back a little bit, clamped onto it, and made sure that we didn't have any other wiring, because God forbid I sell a wiring repair and a fuse block to find out there's another problem. So we always want to try to double check our work to make sure we're getting a complete and thorough diagnosis as much as possible, okay? I do not like making second calls, and I definitely don't like making third. So we got that one nailed for the condenser fan problem. We're going to put the actuator in tomorrow. I need to sell this fuse block and the pigtail. There is a salvage yard local that has one, but this is an SS with the LS4 in it. I'm a little worried that the V6 Impalas will have a different fuse block. The only thing I can see on like parts interchange, like Hollander and stuff, is that there's a police package one. And they're like, well, it's a V8. Don't you think it'd have a police package? I don't know, dude. It's not a police car. So I'd rather not say that 100%. So we're going to see if it works. Okay, so that's the story with this one. Let's talk about the customer that I fired. We had a customer that came to us for 2 years, probably, maybe a little bit longer. And she has a Ford Escape that had a torque converter shutter issue. And another shop was trying to sell her a transmission. She came to us for a transmission service. And we did a full, thorough service on it, tube shutter fix, and the transmission solved. And we're the hero, right? And not that I was selling that as like, this is going to fix it. This is the first step before we spend all that money on another transmission. And she was the kind of person that fixed everything that the car needed, for the most part. There's a couple things she was holding off on. Super nice girl. Lots of conversations, just a stellar person, okay? And I enjoyed having her as a client. She came down. She's one of the only people that we actually allow a waiting oil service because we see this car so often. I'm not worried about doing all these things, right? And she came down for a waiting oil service yesterday at 1 o'clock, which is the only time we actually have any kind of waiting appointment. And she comes in, and my wife goes out and checks the car in, full process, just like everything else, and the car won't start. We have an RD Diag 700 that we use pretty much solely for pre-scans, just so we pre-scan every car that comes in. And that was plugged in, okay? The the car won't start. She comes and gets me. Is like, hey, this car won't start. It's not recognizing the key. So this customer is going to school to be an electrical engineer, which is funny. And, well, not funny, but it just plays into this. And she's freaking out. Like, my car was working when it came down here. I said, I get it. I know it was. I drove it down here, right? So what's the problem? Let's just figure it out. And I told her, I said, you know, I'm like, I would like you to go get your other key. And she's like, well, it's a half an hour away. I said, I understand, but before we start tearing into this car, I want to get another key in case the key went bad. And she was hemming and hawing for like half an hour, right? Like, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm like, well, look, I don't want to tear into this car without trying another key first, okay? And because everything on the car was working, it wouldn't turn on, and the key was not being detected. So she gets the other key, it doesn't work. And like, I give her a loaner car, so she doesn't have to like get an Uber or anything half an hour away. And she ends up like Googling, and I'm pretty sure using AI, and she starts telling us what to check on the car. And I said, look, I know the car was working. You're an awesome customer. Just sign the work order at $0 an hour and let us begin to evaluate why the car's not starting. And that wasn't good enough for her, okay? She was like, your scan tool broke my car because Google said so. It's like, what are you talking about? I couldn't even connect to the car, right? The tool was plugged in, but that was it. So I call up, or I message Hawken, which is, he has his own mobile diag business called Shotgun Diagnostics. And he's an instructor, and he's also works for Top Don. And I just asked him, like, this is the tool that I'm using. Have you ever heard of this ever happening? Because I'm trying to fix this woman's car, right? He said, no, dude, never. I've never, like, it's got to be crazy. I'm like, okay, I just wanted to make sure, right? Because we didn't even communicate with the car. But hey, crazy stuff happens. So I tell her, I'm like, I'm talking to her like a normal person. And I know she's frustrated, and I'm trying to console her, right? And she doesn't want to hear it. Doesn't want to hear it. And I was like, sign the work order, take the loaner car, and I'm trying to have a conversation with her. She's like, my car was fine before you plugged that in. I said, I understand it was, but I'm just telling you, I reached out to multiple people about this already before I even sat down and talked to you and asked them about it. And I said, it doesn't make any sense. And I could already tell she was mad. Like, obviously she's mad the car was working when it got here. From her perspective, I understand that, you know, this tool was plugged in, and but this tool has been plugged into her car like 4 times, okay? So it's not like it doesn't, I don't know. So the conversation between my wife and her, it was just awkward. And for someone to trust us with so much for 2 years to completely fly off, she didn't fly off the handle. She wasn't raising her voice, but you could tell she was extremely pissed. And I'm like, and I told her, I said, you trusted us for 2 years, and where have we ever steered you wrong about anything, right? And I'm telling you that this tool had nothing to do with this. I'm like, I'm already giving you free diagnostic time to figure out what the problem is. And I was already like preemptively telling her, like, depending on what it is, I'll take care of it. But if we did cause something, I will take care of it always, right? But if we didn't cause anything, we're gonna have a conversation. And we got it started by tapping on the bus bar, you know, the fuse panels that those fuses always crack, into the front of the battery. It's really common on the escapes, or the fusions, I think. Yeah, one of those. Focus. The Focus and the, not as common on the escapes, but it does happen. Tapped on the fuse panel, got it started, pulled it in, and we start doing our process. And we pull fuse F4 and F9 out. And testing as found, the car is now starting. We had no voltage drop across the fuses. And we ended up, I told him, I said, just pull the fuses out, because I'm pretty sure if you put your meter in there and push them in or pull them out, it's going to open. And sure enough, that's what happened. Fuse number 9, which is the power for the BCM, would go open if you pulled it out slightly, okay? So the fuse cracked. So then I reached out to a couple of my mentors and said, what do you think of this, dude? I think I'm going to fire her. And they said, oh yeah, I'd fire her too. Like, okay. Now it was a hard decision. But the purpose of that is all trust is lost. All right. And it's not so much that I don't trust her, although I kind of don't, right? But it's that she lost trust in us as a shop to provide professional level of service. Even after I have a video showing the problem and all these other things, she just wasn't down for it. So it looked like she was upset when she got here. I'm not into freaking mind reading, but it looked like she was teary-eyed and stuff. I wasn't nasty with her. I just told her, I said, the trust is completely gone, and you don't trust us to work on your car anymore, and I can't work on your car anymore. She had $110 worth of loyalty rewards that were saved up. She's never used them. So I applied that to her oil service, which is what she came in for. And then I gave her, the bill was $447, I think, for 2 hours of testing, 1 fuse. And I goodwilled that entire thing. So that was over. And then her oil service was $127-ish or something. And she ended up only paying like $35. So, and I told her, I'm like, I'm not charging you for it. This is how much it was worth. And you don't trust us. So I'm like, I said, did you watch the video? Oh, I kind of read it, but I saw the price, but I couldn't see the payments. And I was like, okay. So maybe she was expecting to pay all of that because the payment that was applied, she couldn't see the total invoice. She can only see the total invoice. Maybe that's why she was upset. I don't know. But she wasn't upset about me firing her. But, I would much rather fire a customer that I don't like. That's for sure. Because she was just been a great client. But when things happen, it happens. We did not do a damn thing wrong with this car at all. Zero. Nothing. Okay? The fuse broke. Why did it break in my parking lot? I don't know. Murphy's Law. Right? So that's what happened with that one and me having to fire a customer. That sucks. Yeah. So we're at 7,200-ish in sales. Between those two cars, that's probably another 4,000 roughly, maybe a little over between those two cars. So we should have those things done today, and we have 6 appointments on the schedule. I'm telling you, man, like we have got to get the CRM figured out for appointment reminders, or, which is probably a better option, we should probably start calling these people like we're supposed to at 11 o'clock to verify their appointments, because these people are not showing up. 2 no-shows today. 1 came in person and was a shop owner, right? He ran Goodyear. No, he wasn't an owner. He ran Goodyear's, multiple. And he retired. And it's like, okay, what a dick, dude. Like, I hope that guy calls me and be like, bro, never again. Tell all your friends. To have someone in the industry do that to somebody, he can piss off. And then another one didn't show up. Nissan Altima, go figure, right? And so we'll see what happens with these other ones. Some other good news. I bought this weekend I went to go look at a Chrysler 200, which is a car that I don't work on in my shop. I actually banned those cars from the shop because they're just total piles of crap. But I bought one, and it's a convertible with a V6 in it and 80,000 miles on it. So I paid $500 for the car. The clear is starting to peel on it. The convertible top was iffy, but we got that working. I ended up putting an OEM thermostat on it from an aftermarket. It was running just a little hot. And so that seemed to have taken care of that. Needed a tire rotation, and they didn't even need an oil change. This car is primo, and it's finally, we're getting some progress on buying used cars, it appears anyway. So I got 2 more monitors to set before I can inspect it. So that was like a positive, and we should be able to get some quick money out of that one and park it out front. But yeah, it's looking good. Really happy I had some time dedicated to help my new guy with this wiring problem, to be able to explain like this process and stuff. So it feels really good. But anyway, again, strugglingonor@gmail.com to apply for a free ticket to ASTA. If you can afford it, buy a ticket and come meet me. It's going to be life-changing. I mean it. Okay. I think that's it for now. Remarks complete.